So here we are flying with Russ today from Sebring, Florida to Austin, Texas, halfway across the country. He's doing his pre-flight right now, and we're in front of Lockwood Aircraft in Russ's CTSW. It's a 2006 airplane, light sport qualified airplane that he just bought last week, and we're really enjoying. It's got quite a few wonderful features in it. Let's see. First off, it's got actually an autopilot, believe it or not, which we kind of poo-pooed. But since flying it down from South Carolina, I got to tell you that autopilot is wonderful, and it allows you to concentrate on looking out the airplane and sightseeing a little bit, plus also, having a better situational awareness. It does 120 knots, that's what we found, at only 4.3 gallons an hour, which is just amazing. Works out to be almost 34 miles to the gallon. It's got actually a -6 degree flap setting. Russ has it now in the, I see he was checking his beacon lights. Russ has it now in his 40 degree setting, which you can see right there. So you have 40, 30, 15, 0, and a -6, a reflex for cruise flight. Makes it go a little faster, gives it a little better performance. The throttle quadrant's kind of slick. You've got a choke, throttle, and brake. The throttle works nice and smooth. This is your elevator trim here. It's just really slick. Of course, it's a Rotax 912S engine, turning about 5,500 RPM maximum, and it gears down the engine to, I think, 2.4 to 1, something around there. And when you're taxiing it, you just use the nose wheel steering, and the brakes are just this lever here. And it actually works really well. I think I prefer it to conventional style airplane. When you do select the flaps, it gives you a nice digital readout of their he doesn't have the key in it, but of the location. The fuel valve is kind of slick too. When the fuel is turned off, or turned on rather, when the fuel's on, it's here, and closed is here, and you cannot close the fuel valve with the key in the ignition, so that makes it impossible to take off with the fuel valve closed, thus saving lives. The airplane has less than 300 hours on it when Russ bought it. We're at 305 now. It's got a Garmin radio in it, which also serves as a GPS, a little basic GPS, kind of old-fashioned, with a really nice Garmin transponder. It's got the Hamilton compass card up at the overhead, and some nice sun visors, which are kind of slick. And holds 34 gallons, and there's some tubes in there that you check the fuel in. Which is just a ludicrous amount of fuel for this airplane. And it's got a couple other little features. It's got floor storage there, so you can put in. There's an iPad in there. I've got 2 bottles of water, some nuts, and a battery for the iPad and iPhone. And Russ has one on his side too. And push to talk switch and an autopilot disconnect on the stick. We put in the seats weren't very comfortable, so we put in some Oregon Aero temporary seats. And Oregon Aero has told Russ that they will, for free, install the cushions in his airplane as a test case. So that'll be kind of nice. It's got aileron trim and rudder trim. And in addition, it's got a kind of slick thing here. This is the ballistic parachute handle. So if you get into any kind of a problem, you can pull this parachute, and it will rocket deploy right out of the top here and save the whole airplane, and oh yeah, passengers too. The Rotax 912S can go for 2,000 hours with flight schools in that kind of environment. It'll go even further. People are flying it up to 5,000 hours in some cases before overhauling it, which is kind of ridiculous. Let's see if I forgot anything. Just a couple little minor items. The seats are adjustable, of course, and there's some under cockpit storage for papers and maps and that kind of stuff in here. Russ has an iPad in his right now. Russ's has the lighting option, so it's got beacon position, intercom, cockpit light, landing lights on it, with a PS Engineering intercom, which works really well, and it has a little aux and XM switch, so you can listen to the music from the GPS, which is XM radio capable, which Russ has a 796 just sitting up there right now. He uses it on a knee board in flight, and he can switch back and forth between the aux jack, which is right here, and a music jack for XM, which is kind of slick. Let's see, I think that's mostly it for the features. We're really liking the airplane. You like it, Russ?
It's que bueno.
Que bueno. I think that means it's good. And that's just our little tour of the Flight Design CTSW. This is the SW model. It's a little shorter than the LS, which is the current model. If you can look at that, that's the SW, and right over here is an LS, which has just an extended tail, a little longer fuselage for more stability. It's also got a D window in the back and winglets, as opposed to Russ's droop tips. Probably doesn't change much either way, but Russ's is a little bit faster, they say, because of the shorter fuselage and the different landing gear fairings. If you look at the main landing gear there, they've got kind of a squared out fairing, and Russ has a nice smooth aerodynamic fairing. I kind of like the SW, and they're a good value. So let's go to Austin.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.